Okay, so right now we're doing our movie review for the Valiant One. We just saw that movie tonight, and we're trying to change things up the way that we do our reviews. So we are still new to the movie review set on YouTube, so we are trying things out. Let us know how you like it. But anyway, this film, I really enjoyed it. It was a
pretty good movie.
A military-based film, a war film, I guess. And go ahead and tell us how it starts out, James.
Well, it starts out with Sergeant Edward Brockman. He was sent on a mission they had to fix a
cable, or it was some type of a communications equipment
between North and South Korea.
They were repairing a radar unit in the demilitarized zone.
Between North and South Korea.
But it started off with him in the office, Sergeant Brockman in the office, just chilling, making jokes, basically looking forward to another day, just chilling on his computer. And side note, just in case you don't know, we do in-depth movie reviews. We kind of tell the movie a little bit, so you might want to watch it after you've seen the movie because it will be a spoiler alert. But he thought he was just going to have a typical day at the office, just chilling, doing what he does. He signed up, I guess, for the military. He went to school.
Just do that so he can get to be a communications guy in Silicon Valley.
So this was just a pit stop on his career path, I guess. So they were supposed to be just going to repair a radar unit in, I guess, a centralized zone.
Yeah, he had a couple people with him. Selby, which was the medic. She was a medic in the military. Had
Josh Weaver
and Chris LeBode and
Jonah Ross.
Yeah.
And Wilson Lee.
Yeah, and they were sitting on the mission with him. The first two guys were kind of joking around with him, like, man, they sending you like they sending him out. And she was even like, you need to take this. Yeah, but you need to take this serious, because I have more, basically she had more experience. But I do respect the fact that they respected the chain of command, except for the little guy that was sent along with them. Yeah, he was a civilian guy that was sent also to help with the
repairing of the radar. I guess he was really doing the heavy lifting. But this is my thing. Now, I know on my iPhone app, and I don't know when this supposedly took place because it is 2025, but on my iPhone app, I can look and see what the weather pattern is supposed to be for here in Fayetteville for today. But like James said, maybe the weather just rolled in. Maybe that's how it happens in North and South Korea.
Because while they was preparing it, they got a call saying, "Hey, we got to get back. We got to go back." And the guy was like, "Wait, we can go ahead and all I got to do is
we can go ahead and take care of this." But then he was like, but Brockman was like, no, we need to go back now.
We got our orders. We got to go back.
And the guy was like, "Oh, so this is being all you can be in the Army." But they went ahead and got on the helicopter, and of course the storm rolled in. Next thing you know, the planes crashed.
Yeah, it was a helicopter.
And the helicopters crashed. Excuse me.
And what happened though? But it drifted them off deep into North Korean territory. And we're not part of U.S. has no affiliation with North Korea. So they were behind enemy lines deep, and they had to get back to South Korea. To
a safe zone, basically.
Yeah. And
when the plane crashed, of course, there was
other guys.
There was injuries.
A couple casualties. You had the chief, and you had the helicopter pilot. He was wounded. He was wounded severely.
Don't forget the gentleman that was really burnt. He was like, you couldn't even tell who he was. He was
a couple casualties.
And then who was that? The chief was injured, and then the pilot was injured, and the pilot couldn't even be moved.
He couldn't be moved because looked like the tree was kind of
something was pressing up against his hip, is what he was saying.
And he was bleeding from the mouth, and he was like, he's not going to make it back. But if you get to this safe zone...
Well, he told him to go get this satellite phone. They went and got this satellite phone, and they called, and they was like, look, you're in North Korea, there's nothing we can do. You need to get to a neutral zone, and we can come out and help you. And so he just was like, look, you need to take command. You know, you outrank everybody here and get them to a safe zone.
Because they're not coming. And he was Brockman was like,
and he was like, don't use the phone again.
Yeah.
Don't, because Brockman got on the phone. He was like, don't use the phone again. And then the chief, the poor guy, he was hurt up real bad. All they did was just carry him throughout the film.
I told him, hey, if you get to the zone, Delta Force will be there. So but you gotta get there. And he also gave him his gun that was handed down to him. And it was handed down to his grandfather, to his father, to him, and he wanted him to get back
and give it to his son.
Give it to his son.
And he said that he would slow him down. So y'all, you know, go ahead. And they went ahead, and he ended up just having a grenade and, you know, just blowing him and some of the North Koreans up as well.
But before that happened, the crazy civilian guy, he was like, won't we just turn ourselves in and surrender, and we'll let the U.S. negotiate right. And Brockman was like, they're not going to go. North Korea doesn't go with those type of laws, the Geneva laws. They don't.
He was saying that the journalist, or not the journalist, but the guy that was the computer technician, I guess. He was saying with the Geneva law, and he was saying
they're not practicing.
Don't care about.
So they continue on their journey to try to get back.
They saw the North Koreans in the woods. While they're in the woods, they don't know where they're at. They don't know really where they're going. They're trusting Brockman to be reading this map. He was trying to read a map and his location, and he wasn't sure because he really never planned on being in that situation ever. Yeah, he basically... But by him being the high-ranking... He outranked everyone there. He had to take command. So he was telling them they was going what way they supposed to go. But they ran into the situation. He told them how if some North Koreans was coming, they was coming. Helicopters were coming. There was troops coming, and he was like, "Hey, get down. They had to get down." But the crazy civilian guy, he stands up, throws his hands up, as if he was gonna surrender, and they look at him like he's crazy because he's about to get killed and get all of them killed. But that was at the same time where they was by the chopper, and he blew them up. So that gave a blast, and that took distraction off of him because he was about to die and probably get them all killed. So they got out of that situation. They kept heading on. They came to this open field, and there was a farm. It was a house and a barn, and they wanted to get inside the barn. So they go inside the barn, but the homeowner. Well, the chief thought it having a seizure and convulsions. But the homeowner had came to the barn, and he had his weapon drawn, and they had their weapons drawn, and the chief's over there, you know, he's convulsing, and he's not looking well. Yeah. And the medic is working on him, and that is Shelby's working on him, and the homeowner is like he has his weapons drawn, and he speaks Korean. And the Korean, it was a Korean guy. American. He said he grew up in somewhere in Cali, so he could speak it. And his grandparents said something to him, and but he said, "What did you say?" He said, "I asked him for a beer." His grandparents had immigrated to the United States, so he didn't even know anything about speaking Korean, and they were able to get the gun from the homeowner because the civilian was like he's not going to shoot, because if he was going to shoot, he would have shot already. And so they were able to go. They had to go inside the house and see what was going on in there, who was in there as well. And they ran up on the wife. The wife was trying to protect her child. Yeah, she was trying to protect her child. They didn't know at first. Yeah, but they found out, and they ended up spending the night at the house. And the next day, of course, the Koreans come, and the North Koreans come, and they're the army. When they first went out, she was hysterical, but they heard a noise, and they were like, "What's that noise?" And they had a safe spot for the daughter up under the
thing. So, all right, you can go ahead now. But
Okay.
I just wanted them to know that.
Yeah, but all right, we got to speed up this pace.
Yeah.
But they ended up leaving out of the house, and when they saw the troops coming, and the Selby wanted to get her bag, so they put her in the little hole where the little girl was hiding.
Because she couldn't get out.
And the family, the wife and the husband went outside. They had went in the barn and found the chief's body that they left there.
So they was going to question them, well, why is this American body here in North Korea? Y'all harboring a soldier.
So they ended up taking out the mom and the dad. And I'm like, okay, so if y'all was going to fight anyway, why did y'all let them take the mom and the dad out and leave the little girl like an orphan? So they ended up having to engage in some warfare, and they ended up winning the battle. And they got in the truck. They had the Korean American guy drive it, but the truck was powered by wood. First time I ever saw that. The little girl had to tell them, so thank God that she came with them, because she had to tell them that they had to put wood in the truck. And so they're going down the street, driving the truck. Of course, they get pulled over. And unfortunately, the American guy we end up losing him at this point. But then they decide that they're going to go off in the woods. And the civilian, they go off in the woods, and that's where they find the tunnel that's going to take them to safety. However, the compass doesn't work down in the tunnel. So you just had to make a guess. Which way is north to south, east to west?
They had to look for something out of the ordinary, which was some metal out there. And south would go to South Korea, where the Delta Force would be waiting on. But they went the opposite direction and ran right into the South Korea.
But it's okay, because they were having a gun battle, and the Delta Force ended up intervening, and Brockman was gonna give his life up for his troops. But thank goodness the Delta Force saved the day. So I really enjoyed that movie. My dad was a retired sergeant major, and he would have loved that movie. He actually was in Korea. He went to Vietnam twice, so I know he would have loved the movie. So we really enjoyed it. We did think it was the other movie.
You thought it was warfare.
But that's okay. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie, and I don't really even like war movies, but it was a real good movie. So
normally them type movies be pretty good anyway.
If you saw the movie, let us know what you thought.